So far this week, we've done finding slope from a table, from a graph. Today, we do it from an equation, okay? How do we find it? We actually are in y equals mx plus b form. And what happens when it's not, okay? So again, when it's in y equals mx plus b form, it's pretty simple, right? The m is always in front of what variable? X. So for this first example here, what's my slope? 2, because that's the number in front of the x. The b is always after the x. So your b is 6. It's y-intercept. So Ken, if we were to write that as a coordinate, though, that's at 0, 6, right? It's up 6 on the y-axis. Okay. What about example 2? What's my slope? Who can tell me? Somebody raise their hand. Someone tell me. Ella. 1/2. That's the number in front of the x. What's the y-intercept? 4. That's the number after the x. Okay. What about for number 3? What's our slope for number 3, Tim? -3. What's our b? What's our b? -2, because it's not a plus anymore. So -2. All right, and then number 4, our slope is 3/2. What's our b here? 0, because there's nothing after the x, right? That means that line goes through the origin, right? So if this was the graph, it's going through 0, 0. Okay. Okay, so that part's pretty easy. So what happens when they have to make us work a little bit? So we even have the steps on here for you. We have to isolate the y, which means this variable has to be by itself, okay? Because it has to be in that y equals mx plus b form. So step 1 says move the x to the other side of the equal sign by either adding or subtracting. So if I'm trying to get this in y equals mx plus b, how can I take this x and put it over on the right side? What do I have to do? Remember from solving equations, we kind of gave you all those skills in the beginning. Marco, how do I move the x? Why would we minus x?
Because you have to get it by itself.
Okay, and what else? We have to get it by itself. Why? But why did you say minus x instead of plus x?
Because you have to do the opposite.
Right, x is positive, right? So for us to move it over, we have to do the opposite. So x minus x is obviously, on the left side, is obviously what? 0. So we're left with y equals, now I always write the variable first, right? Because y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to write negative x minus 1. Are we in y equals mx plus b form? Right there?
Yes.
Yeah. So what is my slope? What's my slope? Not negative x. -1. Remember, the variable is not part of the slope. What's my y-intercept? Jack. What's the y-intercept here? Yeah, -1. All right. So I'm going to give this a pause. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes with your shoulder partner. I want you to see if you can solve number 2. Just number 2. Work these steps out. Now notice, real quick, notice that we didn't have to do number 2, right? If there is a coefficient in front of y, divide it into itself, right? Was there a number here in front of the y? No, not on this one, right? But there's a number, we got to divide it, right? Because we have to get the singular y, not like 2x or 5x or 6x or... So we ended up, with this last one, we skipped number 2, right? Because we didn't have to do it. So think about that when you're in, as we keep going too. We skipped a step there because we didn't have to do it. So I'm going to pause here. Let's see if you can figure out number 2 real quick. All right, so now I got an answer. Who wants to walk me through it? Tell me what you did. Tim? Where's 2y at? I don't see where 2y is. We're on number 2. So here's our problem. We're trying to get in y equals mx plus b form.
We added 2x.
Added 2x to both sides? Okay. Because again, the first step is you got to move the x and everything with it. So that goes away. So I'm left with a y. Is this in y equals mx plus b form? It sure is. So what's our slope? 2. What's our y-intercept? All right, good. All right, notice number 3 and 4 are pretty different, right? So I want you to try 3 and 4 with your shoulder partners, and I'm going to pick on 2 different random groups. I'm not going to make you volunteer this time. I'm going to just pick you. So be ready, because it could be anybody. All right, so I'll give you about 5 minutes to do these 2. Remember, y equals mx plus b form. Randomly pick a group for me. So who's going to do number 3?
Haley and Brittany.
All right, so how'd you guys do number 3? Divided by what? 2. Yeah, because it's kind of already in y equals mx plus b, right? The y is by itself. It's just got a coefficient in front of it, right? So they divided by 2. Divided what by 2? Everything? Like that? Is that what you did? Oh, you got to divide everything. Remember, what you do the left side, you have to do the entire right side. That's all right, so just think about how it changes it now. So what's 2 divided by 2? Right, 1. What's 4 divided by 2? And then what's 8 divided by 2? 4. So what's my slope? 2. What's my y-intercept? Good. All right, number 4. Number 4, there's a lot of stuff going on in here. All right, who's our lucky group?
Savannah and Claudia.
Look at this. All right, so what was your first step? Okay, move the 2x over, right? That's the first step. Just follow those notes. First step. After you do about 3 or 4 on the homework too, you'll get a good feel for it. This will start to become second nature. All right. So did you write it like this once you moved it? Okay. So we're still not done yet, right? What we've still got to do? Divide everything by 3. Remember, what you do to the left side, you have to do the entire right side. So if there's 5 terms there, you got to divide every single term by 3. Okay. All right. So what'd you come up with after that? Y equals 2/3 x plus what? Well, not 9. What's 9 divided by 3? 3. So our slope is 2/3, and our y-intercept is 3. How many people got that? Couple? Okay. Remember, it's just breaking it down step by step. Don't skip a step, because that'll throw you off. All right, I'm going to stop the video here, because that's all we're doing.